So continuing with my initial thoughts of the fights on this card, let's talk about Deontay Wilder versus Joseph Parker. A fight that I didn't think I'd be excited for. I gotta be honest, but now it's here. I'm thinking this could this could be fireworks. I mean, we know Deontay Wilder is an explosive character, in the ring and out of the ring sometimes. Although he was very placid at this press conference, which is certainly interesting. This is going to be an interesting style, I think, an interesting stylistic matchup because we have Wilder who we know what he brings to the table. He's got that fastball right hand, and yeah, he's got plenty of deficiencies, but even in fights he loses or has lost, he's still found a way. I think the only time, the second Fury fight, and that was a very good version of Fury. So the fact that he got shut out, Wilder that is, it's yeah, that's the only time I can think of Wilder not being able to get off that big right hand. You saw it in the first Fury fight, the third Fury fight, definitely. So Wilder's always fun in games. He's got big power, he's got big heart, and you have to nail him to the canvas to get the fight over and done with. Because to last 12 rounds of Wilder, that's an achievement in itself. Joseph Parker has been a frustrating heavyweight because I remember a time where Joseph Parker was a young guy, an up and comer, had so much athleticism. He was scoring highlight reel knockouts, and he looked like a real player in the heavyweight division. And of course, he became a champion, with a very close, but I think a respectable win over Andy Ruiz, who we saw what he's gone on to do. Andy Ruiz maybe headed down the route of underachiever, but certainly a very dangerous, very capable heavyweight in his own right. But Joseph Parker, I always saw someone with a lot of talent, a lot of natural talent, a lot of ability, and some quite formidable strengths. But there have been some frustrating aspects to Joseph Parker, primarily his mindset, his mentality. And I was talking to G-Man yesterday about this. Joseph Parker, I have never seen him look anxious in the lead up to a big fight, which he has had. He's been part of big events. The Joshua fight, 70,000 at the Principality Stadium. Dylan White, 25,000 at the O2. That's hostile territory for him. But he never looks overwhelmed by the occasion. So he's a brave guy. He's a brave guy. This is not someone who's, easy to shake up. However, he does lack that dog. I think there's some competitive spirit in Joseph Parker that leaves him when he reaches a certain level or when he's in with a certain type of opponent, a certain personality. We saw that against Dylan White, whereby he could have won that fight. He could have won that fight. And yeah, he got knocked down. And one of those knockdowns, I think it was the first one, where Dylan White landed that clean left hook. That's Dylan White's money punch. And he floored Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker shot up. That's like, Joseph Parker's got a good set of whiskers. I know he got stopped by Joe Joyce, so maybe his punch resistance has deteriorated a little bit, but Joe Parker is tough. But mentally, he doesn't have that burning desire when it comes down to the wire, when he needs to grab a fight by the scruff of the neck and impose his will. That being said, though, he does have those that physical ability. However, from a stylistic perspective, one thing I've noticed about Joe Parker is he seems to struggle with guys who are taller than him. And I mean, he's struggled with a bunch of different styles, but primarily he can fall into a rut when he's fighting taller guys where he just kind of launches this big overhand right, hoping it lands, and there's no IQ. There's very little IQ from Joseph Parker, and the cerebral aspect to his boxing just isn't that developed. And so he can be a little bit of I don't even want to say a one-trick pony, but he can just be a little bit unintelligent sometimes. Now, that being said, he's still an effective fighter. Like, you can't just take Joseph Parker lightly because he's got speed, he's got power, he's got great combination punching, but he's just not always able to apply it. That's the thing. And I'm wondering, is Deontay Wilder, does he have those dimensions that can cause Joseph Parker problems, because we know Wilder's a big guy, tall guy, but at that same time, Wilder's no defensive wizard. He is there to be hit, but it's a bit of a game of chicken, you know. It's a it's a big psychological task to attack Wilder, because you're in danger. If you're in range of Wilder's right hand, you're in danger. There's no two ways about it. However, Joseph Parker's a good mover. Should he come in light for this fight, we've seen Joseph Parker have a good engine to move around and, yeah, be a little bit negative, but be quite slippery, you know. Manage distance quite well, move around quite well, avoid getting hit clean. I think we've seen Joseph Parker struggle a little bit where he's tried to come in heavier. He's fallen into this trap of, I'm a big heavyweight. Well, Joseph Parker's not a small man, but he's not as big as some of these other heavyweights. And so he needs to kind of go back to his roots if he can, if his body allows him, drop a bit of weight, be fleet of foot, have that hand speed, and, you know, maybe try and move around Wilder, use his mobility, because Wilder's not the best coordinated guy. There are videos of Wilder doing footwork when he's shadowboxing, and it's like some black and white slapstick, you know, he's swinging around and his legs are leaving the floor, and it's hilarious stuff. But nobody's laughing when Wilder sets his feet and lets that right hand rip. So I think Joseph Parker, he's going to have to be light, he's going to have to be mobile, and he's going to need to be relatively conservative, but he still can't be afraid. Can he do that? I think that's a big ask. Deontay Wilder, if Joseph Parker comes in heavy and he's a potted plant in front of him, Joseph Parker's going to sleep. And maybe he'll knock Parker down and Parker might be able to get to his feet, but I think if Wilder detonates that right hand on his jaw, that's it. Sooner or later, it's going to be it. Wilder needs to, I think he needs to close down Joseph Parker. Maybe get Parker a bit more immobile, get him up against the ropes. I don't know if Wilder can do that necessarily, but he's going to need to, I think he's going to need to do a good job of pinning Joseph Parker down. And that's assuming that Parker moves. Going to be interesting to see the approach. Speaking of the press conference, Wilder had a very strange demeanour, very placid, you know, very relaxed. And, you know, he's usually the guy screaming bomb squad at the top of his lungs. I don't know. Wilder maybe he's a bit of a hot and cold character. You know, he's quite emotional. Maybe it was just one of his down days. But then I've seen people commenting in underneath these press conference videos asking if Wilder is on Adderall or something like that. Who knows? You know, he's no stranger to trying different substances. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. Very placid between these two, very respectful, but they're both former champions. And I think come fight night, they're going to be looking to do some serious damage on each other. And it should make for an exciting spectacle while it lasts. Leave your comments in the comment section below. What do you think of this fight? And I'll get recording the next one.